What's up, everybody? Today we're going to have something a little bit different for, I guess, my quasi-interview series that I have on here sometimes. And I guess I could preface this a little bit. I was contacted by Governor Gretchen Whitmer's team asking if I was interested in just doing a video with her for the Lunar New Year. Something that related to cooking, something that talked about like some kind of cultural exchange and sharing. And I, of course, being a person who is a big fan of my governor and everything she's done for my state of Michigan, I jumped at the opportunity. Of course I was going to. She's great. And after we recorded our video, I only had like 30 minutes to do it because, you know, as you would imagine, the governor of Michigan do be very busy. But after my video, I left for a little bit and then I came back to the house later on because there was a Lunar New Year celebration and reception at the governor's house. The guests were a lot of AAPI small business owners, leaders of their community, politicians, myself, that kind of thing. Now, I had been to the one at the White House 2 years before, and I gotta say, I kind of like the one in Michigan better. I mean, I didn't get to make dumplings with Dr. Biden and President Joe, but you know, I will always have a soft spot for Michigan first. Now, you'll notice for this interview video that she ended up asking me a lot of the questions because I was being invited to her house for Lunar's New Year's. I was the one that was like telling her about my culture, my customs, and she was learning about what I, as a Michigan Chinese person, do during Lunar New Year. So without further ado, I hope you really enjoy this video. It's something a little different, something a little casual, and hopefully I'll be able to invite the governor back to my place in my kitchen where we can like make a pot pie recipe together. Putting it out there. Oh my gosh, thank you so much for having me over. This is amazing. So we're gonna make dumplings today. And in here we have, it's ground pork, but you can use like beef or lamb. It gets tricky if you try to use chicken or stuff, but beef or lamb. There's not enough fat. And it kind of like turns into goo, for the lack of a better term. But in here we've got some Chinese soy sauce, which is right here. Some chicken bouillon powder, which if you like eat at any like basic Chinese restaurant and you taste like the soup or anything, you taste this. This is such a cornerstone of like a lot of Chinese takeout places, and I love to use it because it tastes really good. And then we've got a tiny touch of oyster sauce. And one thing that I put in here that not a lot of people do is I like to mix in a little bit of tofu, because tofu holds on to water and it doesn't taste like anything. Even if somebody likes their burger like well done, it'll still be juicy. Yeah. Like it'll still be like moist and stuff. So I do that with my dumplings as well. And scallions on green onions and a little bit of cabbage for like, just to say that we had a vegetable. I like that. In there. So we're gonna do a dumpling, like a basic dumpling fold first. Okay. The easiest thing to do when it comes to like a dumpling fold, we're gonna take a little bit of water and then just do a smiley face here.
Oh, just half of it. Yeah. Okay.
And then you just fold it in half. And this could be done. You could be finished. If all you wanted to do was this is a dumpling. You can just boil this, or you could fry this and steam this, and you can like say that that's it. But if you wanted to go a little bit extra, you just turn it upside down. And you just take a little bit of water on one corner here, and then take your finger and then just push into the center here a little bit.
Okay.
And then you just let the corners two meet.
Oh.
And you make a little cup. Oh. And that's it. This is like just a basic boiled dumpling fold right here. Beautiful. Have you done this before?
Yes.
Okay.
I have a friend, Fanny Young,
okay.
who is Chinese American.
Yeah.
Who I have made dumplings with before, but I had not done that fold. So.
Huh. Okay.
I'm learning.
All right. So you're confident with the dough.
I wouldn't go that far.
Okay. Because that was really impressive. This is what I did actually like in Eastern Market in Detroit. I used to like sell dumplings on the weekend out of Eastern Market.
Did you start cooking when you were young? Is this something that like you've always done, or you've refined it over the years?
I started cooking when I was going to law school at U of D.
Okay.
It was my only creative outlet that I wouldn't feel like was a complete waste of time, that I could have been like, I could be studying. And yeah, eventually that turned into like me starting a blog, like a food blog, and then a pop-up in the city. And that's kind of like the rest is history. I just started cooking seriously from then on. I do have my law degree, I don't use it.
I mean, me, same.
Okay.
sign laws, but I don't practice law either. Now you're like, have got this whole other part of your life that has developed. Like,
it's crazy.
How did you make that transition?
I was on my way to opening a restaurant, also in Eastern Market, before the pandemic hit. And after that, we just didn't know what was going on. So I just decided to start filming basic survival recipes, like how to break down a chicken, how to make a frittata with all the stuff that's left over in your fridge, that kind of thing. And then it blew up somehow. So I was like one of the first of maybe like a small class of people that just decided to cook on TikTok, and then we all just kind of blew up at the same time. And we were people that from all over the country. There were even actually quite a few that were from Michigan. I'm the only one that's still here, and I stubbornly refuse to leave.
Good.
I will not leave.
Do you have their numbers? I'm gonna call them and tell them to
get
come
them
back.
I'm trying to get, actually, I'm actually like stealing one from Brooklyn.
Good.
I'm getting her to move over here.
So what do you say, a handful of us? A particular style of cuisine or just?
It's all different styles. So
Okay.
like the one in Chicago, she goes by the Korean vegan. She actually also used to be like a partner attorney at a big law firm over there.
Recovering lawyers.
Yeah, I know, we're all recovering. The person that is also from Detroit, he's in New York now. He does ice cream. His name's Dylan LeMay. There's one person who's still in Flint. He goes by the Golden Balance, and his name is Ahmad. And we're just scattered all over the place. And it seems like when you're flipping through social media, it's like, oh my gosh, there's so many of these people who cook and stuff. But really, like, there's not that many of us at all, considering the fact that everyone you're scrolling through are the people in the entire country, sometimes the whole world, that is like, this is what we do. I do try so much. Every time I travel, I was like, no, you could do this in Michigan. The big draw that I like to show off is our diversity of produce, as we're like the second in the country. When it comes to foods like this, whether it be dumplings or like, in Korean they call it mandu, or even like things like tamales, you just like have a whole system where you gather around and you bring people together, and it's great.
My executive assistant, one side of her family Mexican, and they get together and they make tamales around the holidays, and it's like everyone gathers and does it. One of my best friends is Lebanese. They all get together and make grape leaves.
Yes,
Tell me more a little bit about like customs around the Lunar New Year or other holidays.
In the Chinese New Year, how you start off the new year is kind of representative of how your year is going to go.
Okay.
So we have a lot of rules, which I don't think any of the other ones do, but they're all based on superstitions. So for example, like on the day of Chinese New Year, you don't cut your hair because it is kind of like a pun for like cutting off your good fortune for the rest of the year. Another one is you're not allowed to sweep. People believe that you are sweeping the good luck out of your house. And I've got to many arguments with some aunties because I believe that if you have a Roomba, that is not you doing it, and nothing is leaving your house. They kind of collect it. So you should be able to let your robot vacuum run.
It's so good to know these types of conversations happen in all families.
Totally. Right? We're always trying to find a loophole. But then when it comes to food, dumplings kind of like have their own representation. They look like, or traditional dumplings, actually we can make a traditional one.
Okay.
How it goes is you have this, and then you kind of just wet the top like so, like this. And then here, you kind of like wet the insides.
Oh, so it's like a purse?
It is kind of like a purse. Like so. You just fold these in, and this is kind of like an easy version of a traditional dumpling. And I kind of like it because it kind of looks like it's like embarrassed. It's like covering its eyes. It's kind of cute. But this kind of looks like one of those Chinese gold ingots, or our version of like gold nuggets. And so, dumplings represent wealth and the accumulation of wealth and then the sharing of wealth.
I love dumplings so much.
I do too. We should cook these.
All right.
I have some in the water ready for us. And then I have some like soup going here that we can put it in.
Okay. What do you need me to do?
We just throw this in.
Okay. Yeah, my friend Fanny, we did it before, but she usually buys them in Chinatown in Boston.
Oh, that's a good way to do it too.
So drop them right on in.
We're just gonna.
So why did you go to law school in the first place?
Oh, because it was 2007, and it was a very scary place to leave undergrad. The world was terrifying to leave as an undergrad. So I was like, I think I'm gonna go back to school. And I had a theater degree from Eastern, which actually ended up being so good for what I do now. So
how great. And then, so then when you graduated, what did you do?
When I graduated, I worked for the prosecutor's office for like a couple of years.
In Wayne County?
In Wayne County, yes. But I was also doing pop-ups in Detroit at the same time. So I literally was just on two parallel paths that eventually just culminated to like a choice that I had to make. Like, did I want to go in and be like a APA, or did I want to just make food in abandoned warehouse spaces in Detroit? And I thought the latter one was pretty cool. So I was like, I could always fall back into law and do that.
Yeah.
But I was cooking all sorts of things. I was doing like, you know, when steam buns were very much in fashion, I was doing a lot of those. I actually have, like, my mom grew up in Brazil for a little bit, so I knew how to make Brazilian food. So I was making like some fusion Chinese Brazilian dishes in cafes.
Yum.
Yeah, it was a really good time, and it was very of a specific time in Detroit where it had that energy. It was such a creative place. It still is.
But there was so much starting up at that time when you were starting up.
Yes.
But, yeah.
It was like the only restaurant that everybody was going to at the time was Slo's Barbecue.
Yep.
And that was the one.
It's so funny, people when they go to. You ever been to Slo's? Yeah. Slo's is great. I love Slo's. There's so much good stuff though.
Hi, baby.
Dougie.
Hello.
Dougie loves dumplings, don't you? Do you have dogs or cats?
I have two little pitties.
Oh.
And they also love being in the kitchen.
I bet. Are they little?
I mean, they think so. What is your favorite thing to cook?
My kids always request my chicken pot pie.
Oh, see?
But I'm not really a baker. I'll make the filling, so it's an Ina Garden recipe.
Oh, yeah.
And I make the filling, and then you put like biscuits on top of it.
Oh,
and I put
very
them in like the
nice.
individual ramekins.
I love a pot pie. Chicken pot pie from like the Stouffer's stuff was one of the things that like my mom would make, and I would love it. I was like such a Stouffer's kid when I was little. Lasagna, the pot pies and stuff. I loved it so much that I actually like made two versions of them from my cookbook.
Oh, really?
So I have a beef and broccoli pot pie.
Oh.
And Dan Dan lasagna, which is like a spicy Szechuan lasagna that is kind of like modeled after the Stouffer's stuff. But here, look what we did.
Wow, gorgeous. Where do I show it?
You can show it here. We can move it over here.
Gorgeous.
The dumplings
Delicious.
are good.
This is so good.
Thank you. Thank you for letting me do this.
No, this is amazing. I love it. My Fanny, who I only have ever done this with once, does it all the time with my sister. So now I'm gonna have a dumpling.
Yeah, you can do it with me whenever you want.
I'm gonna have a cook-off.